Metro Prystai remains one of the most popular and enduring legends in Saskatchewan sports, and also for the Detroit Red Wing alumni. One of the greatest names in hockey history. And what I do remember about him, I read about him quite early in my life in a Stan Fischler book. And what Stan said, he was always smiling, always positive, well loved by his teammates, well loved by his opponents. And according to Red Wings Legends Blogspot, he remains one of the great names in hockey history. He grew up playing hockey in the frozen ponds near his native Yorktown, Saskatchewan, and this led him to the province's Baseball Hall of Fame, Hockey Hall of Fame, and Sports Hall of Fame. He later starred for 3 years of junior hockey with the powerful Moose Jaw Canucks that won three straight provincial titles. In 45 and 47, the team advanced to the final of Memorial Cup, losing both times to the strong St. Michael's out of Toronto. Prystai, whose real first name is Dimitro, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, was such a legendary figure in Moose Jaw that it was said that the day he hugged a picture in Thatcher's hardware store on Main Street was his proudest moment in hockey. Now, Prystai left the little town of Moose Jaw for the big lights of Chicago to play with the Blackhawks in 47. 3 years later, the pint-sized center was the team's most popular player, leading the way with 29 goals in 1950. But the Hawks packaged Prystai Detroit in a 9-player deal, which at the time was the biggest in National Hockey League history and directly led to the Red Wings dynasty of the 1950s as he played quite often with Gordie Howe and the other key players during the decade. Now, Prystai said, I was disappointed because it looked like the Hawks were an up-and-coming organization, but Detroit had so many good players that after a while, I was happier than heck. They used me as a swingman because they play all three forward positions, though I spent most of my time on the right wing. For a while, I was with Ted Lindsay and Gordie Howe, then on a checking line with Marty Pavlich and Tony Leswick, then with Alec Delvecchio and Johnny Wilson. Now, Prystai scored the game winner in 1952 for the Stanley Cup, and that Detroit team swept the playoffs in 8 straight games, beating Toronto and Montreal. We never allowed a goal at home, Prystai said with great pride. We played 4 games and Terry Sawchuk had 4 shutouts. We won the final game 3-0, and I had 2 goals and 1 assist. Terry was 225 pounds and so big that he could hardly see the net, but quick as a cat. One year, Jack Adams, who was then the Detroit manager, got mad as hell and said he was too big and told him to cut out drinking beer and lay off the potatoes. And he came back the next season 30 pounds lighter, but he was pretty sick from something. Again, Prystai was the game's first star in the Stanley Cup title match in 52, scoring 2 goals and 1 helper. The Wings then sent Prystai back to Chicago in 55, their not-so-secret attempt to bolster a weakened Chicago team, owned by James Norris, brother of Wings owner Bruce Norris. The teams in the league got together and said, look, we're going to send 1 player apiece to help Chicago. I was part of the Help the Poor deal, recalled Prystai. I was kind of half pauper because I had a fairly good year. I wasn't happy to go back because I was enjoying Detroit. Now, a year later, the Hawks sent Prystai back to Detroit again. He would slide in and out of the lineup, battling injuries, most notably a foot injury that really hobbled him. The Wings sent him to the minor leagues in hopes they would find his game, but he ended up breaking his leg twice, all but ending his playing days. Now, when asked if he ever wished he played in the modern era of big money hockey, Metro answered very humbly. His father had immigrated from Ukraine with very little and provided the best he could for his family, and Metro was always very thankful for that. If I had a chance to do it over again, I would like to do it over again even the same bloody way, even though we didn't get paid a lot of money or anything like that, he noted. But I came from a little town. We had nothing. It was just after the Depression. Nobody had any money. Then all of a sudden, bango, you're living first class, you're traveling first class, you're making pretty good money. It was pretty darn good money. We were making close to $10,000 a year, but I had buddies at home who were working the full year for $3,000 or $4,000. In all, Metro Prystai scored 151 goals, 179 assists, and 674 NHL games. He tried his hand at coaching for a while, first in Omaha and then back to Saskatchewan, teaching junior kids in Moose Jaw and Melville. He ultimately left hockey for a variety of careers, including brewery salesman, real estate, and insurance sales, and later in life he settled in Wynard, Saskatchewan, selling cars and raising his family. He also owned a fishing lodge in northern Saskatchewan, where he loved to spend time. Now, according to many published reports, he was very proud to be recognized by the key Saskatchewan Hall of Fames. Now, he played his bantam and midget hockey in Yorktown, but as what, again, the Moose Jaw Canucks, they made his name for himself between 44 and 47. The team, again, was Western Canadian Junior Champs in 45 and 47. Now, Metro played on something that was called the meatball line or the ball makers line as well, where Bert Olmsted and Bep Guidolin. He was again traded 3 years later to the Red Wings, where he played from 51 to 58. While playing for the Red Wings, again the team won 6 league titles and 2 Stanley Cups. Now, according to the Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame website, his parents had immigrated to Yorktown from Ukraine, again born November 27, around 1896, and did not know any English. The family worked together for everything they had. In a rare occasion of spare time between school, church, and keeping up with household chores, the family screwed together on a small homemade backyard rink in the winter and a baseball diamond in the summer. It was safe to say the sibling rivalry was alive and well in a Prystai house. As Metro's talent quickly developed on the ice, he was invited to play again for the Moose Jaw Canucks. The marvelous Metro, another one of his nicknames, would flourish in the opportunity that the Canucks won 3 straight provincial titles with 2 trips to the Memorial Cup. Some often referred to him at the time later on as the Wayne Gretzky of junior hockey in his final 2 seasons, as he led the league in scoring each year, which earned the eyes of NHL scouts. Now, again, 47, he joined the Blackhawks, then traded to the Red Wings, and 2 cups in Detroit, 52 and 54. Now, he was Metro can be remembered as a fan favorite everywhere he played, and if you didn't see him smiling, it was a bad day. He was a tremendous person. Teammates and media always described him as a dedicated, humble gentleman of the game. Now inducted in Saskatchewan Baseball Hall of Fame, the Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame, and again the Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame. Well deserved all the way together. Now Metro, again, when he opened the insurance company in Wynard, Saskatchewan, very successful as well. Unfortunately, he was a widower twice, with both spouses, Evelyn and Mavis, predeceasing him. Now, he died on October 9th, 2013, in a nursing home in Wynard, Saskatchewan. He was 65. Now, Prystai's parents, Harold and Annie Prystai, were from Tempoli, Ukraine. 5'9", 170, mostly, again, played center, but that decade in the NHL, tremendous respect from everybody involved. Now, looking at his rough stats, Moose Jaw Canucks, that big 47 season, 71 points, including 32 counters. Big seasons with Chicago again, 1950, were at 29 goals in 51 games. With Detroit, again, puts up some dynamite numbers, 20, 21, 16, and 12 goals between 51 and 54, of course, 2 cups, and the 2 big postseasons, 7 points in 1952, including 5 assists, and 5 points in 54. A rougher road to the title, 2 goals and 3 assists for 5 points. Back with the postseason with Detroit in 56. Unfortunately for Detroit, they lost to Montreal. Played a couple of seasons in the Edmonton Flyers system, and also made a short comeback in 1970 with the Yorktown Terriers of the SSHL. So coaching, he was head coach of the Omaha Knights in 1960. Moose Jaw was head coach of the Moose Jaw Canucks in the SJHL from 61 to 63. Best season, of course, was 63, 25, 22, and 7. And 2 seasons as head coach of the Melville Millionaires. And again, the return to the SSHL in 1970. But Metro, again, a very, very dedicated individual, and you're going to see by the photos here, he just loved hockey and loved sports, loved Saskatchewan, loved his region. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, a good Saskatchewan boy, if you don't have a good Saskatchewan product on your team, pro or amateur otherwise, you're losing out. The attitude of the Saskatchewan players, we got a puck, get your own puck. So, but Metro, my God, I've been reading about this guy all my life, and he was a favorite of my dad, so Metro Prystai. The worst part is he never played with the Maple Leafs or Canadians. I think he'd be a bigger star. But you think of Ted Lindsay, you think of Bert Olmsted, you think of Gordie Howe. Metro was up there, and boys, like I said, he was like kind of a combination of Gilmore and Courtnall. He knew where the net was, and scoring 20, 25 goals back then were just like 40 in 2024. Thanks for listening. If you like what we're doing with our Vintage NHL podcast, give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.